We did learn this morning that there has been a really, really bad train crash in New Jersey. At last check, one person is dead and over 100 people have been injured when a New Jersey Transit commuter train crashed into the Hoboken station this morning. New Jersey's emergency management system is reporting that more than 100 people have been injured, one person so far found dead. Federal investigators are en route. The National Transportation Safety Board is gathering information. This hugely damaged the Hoboken terminal building. I actually have a lot to say about this, and we don't yet have all the details about this particular crash. It appears as though the train was moving very quickly, at least too quickly, given that it was already in the station. You might have seen, if you've traveled on trains, that at the end of lines, you often have what sort of look like bumpers, and they're meant to stop the train if it's going too fast. Those only work up to a certain speed, and a friend of mine who works for Amtrak, it's not a high speed. I think he said it's something like it's a 5 or 10 mile per hour bumper. If you think about the mass of a train, those bumpers are not going to be able to prevent a train going 20, 25, or 30 miles an hour from getting through necessarily. It appears as though, although the train did hit the bumper, it was going far too fast for the bumper to keep the train contained. It went off the tracks and did major, major damage to the station. We're still trying to figure out exactly what happened here. We don't know if the train engineer passed out, fell asleep, was otherwise incapacitated. Trains have a 60-second alerter, which requires the train operator to, within 60 seconds, every 60 seconds, they have to press something in the train to show, hey, I'm still with it, I'm still here. If they don't, the train will immediately slow down. The problem is that still allows for nearly 2 minutes. If you pass out or otherwise leave the locomotive or are incapacitated right after turning off the alerter, you have 60 full seconds before the train will start to brake. And then because it's not the most aggressive braking system, it can take, depending on the speed of the train at the time that the automatic braking engages, anywhere from 30 to 60 additional seconds for the train to stop. So we're talking about, even with the system working the way it's designed, 90 to 120 seconds of potentially unsupervised train operation. This gets to the broader problem with American trains, and you've heard me talk about this many times before. Number one, we have this general issue in the US where, because of the fossil fuel lobby, the airline lobby, and the automobile lobby, it is very difficult to make progress on train development. We recently saw Massachusetts-based bus company Peter Pan actively lobby to block a study into train service across Massachusetts. Why? Well, that's their bread and butter. They run something like 10 or so buses a day back and forth across the Massachusetts Turnpike. If all of a sudden you've got train service for that route, not subject to surface traffic, quite common on I-90, the Massachusetts Turnpike, it'll be bad for the bus companies. And this applies to short airline flights. This applies to people driving, etc. In addition to that, because we also have lacked this advancement in train development, we are missing some of the systems that other trains in other parts of the world have. For example, forget about the 60-second alerter. The maximum speed at any given point on the track is controlled by a computer, meaning that aside from this alerter, there would be no way, if we had a system that said, once you are within, I don't know what distance it would be, call it half a mile of Hoboken Station, the train can't be going 30 miles per hour. By that point, the computer has already slowed the train down to 20 or 15 or whatever the case may be. So this really exposes just how antiquated and retrograde the United States is when it comes to train technology in so many ways. We could have a conversation about infrastructure. This is also a conversation about lobbies. This is a conversation about how far behind the US as a first world country is in many areas, including train travel. Ultimately, we are going to learn the details of this particular crash. We will figure out, well, what happened to the train engineer? What was there any other safety system in place which did not work properly or which was not triggered? We'll learn about all that, but we also have to take a step back from it, and it doesn't reduce or increase the tragic nature of this casualty and the 100+ people that were killed. but we have to take a step back and say, hey, what is going on with trains in the United States? And it's really not good. Okay, let's take a break. We are on Reddit. You can go to davidpakman.com/Reddit, Reddit. Join the discussion. Many new topics every day on our Reddit discussion forum. You can suggest interviews there. You can suggest stories. Always great to hear from people there. After the break, I think a lot of people are going to find this conversation interesting, but maybe surprising. We will be speaking to Elizabeth Savola about the fastest growing group of incarcerated individuals. What group is it? Well, we'll talk about that next. Gamefly is sort of like Netflix for video games. They have over 8,000 new and classic games for Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, PS3, Wii, and a bunch of other platforms. And you can play as many games as you want for one monthly fee. And if you find some games you want to keep, you can buy them for a low used price. There's never any due dates or late fees, and our audience can get a free 30-day trial at gameflyoffer.com/TDPS. The games are shipped directly to you with return envelopes included. There's no contracts, and you can rent games through the mobile app. Get the free 30-day trial for the David Pakman Show audience and support our show by going to gameflyoffer.com/TDPS.